This is Ann.
Honey.
Yep, and if, but I can't see anybody else looking around the room, so I don't know if everybody else is just ready to jump in there.
No, Ann, you may go ahead.
I was fortunate to participate in the day that they spent working on it, and to me, I really liked the plan, and it made a lot of sense to me. I don't know if some of the phrases would make as much sense to somebody else, who hadn't gone through that. And I was also, I liked it a lot, but I was also really interested in the process, and that it's a 4-year plan, and so I'm interested in then, do you do nothing until the end of that 4 years, or in 2 years do you do another 4-year plan, so it's always constantly overlapping? And I was also interested in how much it cost to do this. I know you're obligated to do it, but you chose to go with a consultant instead of doing it in-house. I was just interested in that.
Sure, I can answer, I think, most of those questions. Let's see, there was the question about something about when we would begin the process for the next one. Was that one of the questions that I heard? Yeah.
Do you roll them forward always, so that you sort of always have one that's more recently been done, or do you wait for it to sort of expire and then do the next one? And then the process.
Sure. I can tell you how this one has come about. We are in our we're currently in the 3rd year of our current 3-year plan. So we, in typical fashion, when we've done these plans, is that typically in the last year of the existing plan is when we begin doing the work for the next plan. And I think that's probably the common way to do that, so that you aren't always necessarily in a planning mode. When you're putting together a strategic plan, certainly it's to try and look into the future, but and that what you start with in the beginning, there's certainly it certainly may morph into something else, but having a plan is that it sort of gives you the guide as to where it is that you want to go, and that if you do it at least a fairly decent job at that it's something that is broad enough, yet you can sort of attach things to it so that it actually makes sense. Surprisingly, that has always worked for us, whether it's us doing our own consulting, as in we are doing it ourselves, or whether we've brought in a consultant to do that. So I think there was a question about, well, when do you accomplish the things of the plan, and because of the amount of things that we usually try and accomplish, is that you don't try to accomplish it all in the first year, but then you don't also wait until the last year of the plan to, hurry up, let's get all of these things done. I think some of it, it really depends upon, sort of on timing, and also who is going to be part of that, of implementing that plan. So it's sort of, looking at it and saying, okay, are there things that we've already started work on even before the plan is technically implemented, that maybe that might be finished in a year rather than over the 4 years. But then there are other goals and strategies that may take the entire life of the plan to need some sort of implementation. And when we've looked at our plans, there are some goals that are life of the plan. But there may be some that have a much shorter window, but by putting them into a strategic plan, it gives them a bit more, we can put a bit more emphasis on them. The cost for this is roughly, I believe that we came in around, now the number is going to escape me, but I believe it's right around $25,000. So it's not an inexpensive undertaking. But the reason why we decided to do a consultant this time was that, our last plan, the plan that we're currently doing, the staff undertook, and this time I think as we were also looking at maybe a bit longer of a plan, we wanted to have a consultant sort of help us look, I think, a bit more strategically. I think our current plan, which is good, there's some things where there was a bit more focus on, at times, on just sort of maintaining. And this time we really wanted to sort of look forward, a bit more into the future, a bit more strategic, which is really what a strategic plan is. And I think it always helps, after a number of years to, if we have that option available to us, that we, take advantage. Because you get very wrapped into the things that you do, and so sometimes being able to have somebody come in and say, you guys need to look at these other things, or getting us engaged into thinking a bit more towards, what is it that we can be doing, is I think always good, and it kind of rejuvenates, and hopefully we end up with a very good plan. Does that answer the questions? Did I miss anything?
I think it answers my questions, yeah. Now, to me, when I read through it, I was like, oh, I can see how that thing that we talked about fits here, or that other thing, how that goes there. To me, it was like a great summary kind of it, but I'm wondering if for other people that it's sort of the equivalent of reading the introduction and not getting much more. And it surprises me almost that, that there isn't more information underneath the different goals, but that would be the implementation plan, and then so I'm guessing that a lot of that's really already sketched out. It's just not quite ready to show people. Is that the case? It strikes me as sort of the table of contents.
In a way, that I think that's sort of the way to think about it, is that we needed a place to start, and I'll tell you that underneath each of those strategies and the goals that you see there, it isn't sketched out. We really wanted to sort of, okay, we needed a place to begin, and from there, and so taking the information from the survey and also from the retreat. Let me explain a little bit about the retreat. The retreat, if you didn't get invited to attend, it wasn't because we didn't like you. It was that the process that the consultants worked with is that they had sort of a number of folks that they feel like could have, that could manage a conversation. And so their optimum number was actually around 40 people. We fell a bit short of that, but in the end we ended up with 30, and it was a good mix of folks. We had representation from all types of libraries within our region. Board members, we actually did have one elected official, two. Charlie Sparks was, and Rich Bauer was here. We also had someone from a school who was not the librarian, but Jen Hagna, who is the director of, I think, instructional technology, and she was excellent. I wish she could have stayed for the whole day. She had a real nice way of being able to, she could join right in the conversation and knew exactly what we were talking about. So she had a nice way of sort of bridging the differences there. But so that's when Anna's talking about the things that we talked about at the retreat, we have reams of notes, but if you weren't invited, it wasn't that we were slighting. It was just that we wanted to have representation, and they wanted to have a smaller group. But that's also why the survey was available, and the folks who were on the extended strategic committee were also sort of charged with making sure that they were asking their colleagues as well. But no, the plan is, this is as far as we've gotten. The implementation plan is really going to be the time that we sit down with our consultants and really take a look at all of these areas, take the information that we got from both the survey and from the retreat, and flush this out some more so that it's more than just a table of contents.
Are there any other questions or comments regarding the strategic plan? If not, let's go ahead and move on to the enterprise update. Tyler?
Okay. Actually, I think Don and
you're going to start this one?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and
after
start
we go to the agenda. Sorry.
Tyler and Cheryl have by far the more interesting parts of this presentation, so I'm going to try and make mine very brief.
That looks great. Thanks. Oh, sorry.
No, we're done. Okay, so the enterprise upgrade that we have been waiting for all these many months finally came out and was installed for us on January 6th, the same day we launched the new website. So we are now proceeding with the rollout that we had actually hoped to do back late last summer. On Wednesday, the 29th of this month, we're going to have 2 rollout meetings. Those are in lieu of the traditional technology users group meetings. We're going to do one in the morning at 9:30 and another one in the afternoon at 1:30. They're going to be identical, so you do not need to attend both. We're just trying to give people as many options as possible to make it into the office. Yeah.
Don, did you send out the email confirming those times yet? Because I think the last email I received said you hadn't actually set the time.
That's correct.
Okay.
That email is going to be going out.
Okay.
Yep. With the agenda for that, which was being thrashed out today. So on the 29th, we'll have these 2 rollout meetings, and that's where we'll be showing off a lot of what you're going to see today. Now, today is just a preview. We will have 2.5 hours at those other meetings, and we only have about 45 minutes today. So you're not going to get to see everything. So please come back on the 29th. But this is a sneak preview. For about 2 months after the rollout meetings, we will be carrying out usability testing and gathering feedback from users at the online libraries, as well as from some members of the general public. And I'll talk more about that in just a moment. And we do intend to make tweaks in real time as we get those comments coming in. So we hope that we can get people to sort of follow along, and hopefully it'll be fun. And then on Tuesday, April 1st, which hopefully won't be apropos, we will launch the website, or the catalog for everyone's production use, and start shutting Aqua Browser down.
How, I was just wondering about that. I mean, can Aqua Browser stay up for a little while?
It probably could.
I mean, from a school's perspective, rather than show a new catalog in April, could I wait until, could I just keep mine for the month and a half that I got left and go?
The biggest issue I see with that is going to be for maintenance, because maintenance runs for Aqua Browser runs through the end of March.
Okay.
And that was actually an extension. We had to pay extra to Serial Solutions for that, since we had originally intended to shut Aqua Browser down in the fall.
Yeah.
So there is an issue there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Let us take that under advisement and see what we can come up with. I think we might be able to work something out. So then I'm going to turn it over to Tyler and Cheryl, who will actually show you what they've been working on. You guys want to take it away?
Sure, I'm just writing that right now.
Okay.
I was going to start.
Yeah, I know.
I feel like we need a musical interlude at this.
I know, right? Quick, take a washroom break. Okay.
probably a good plan. Because the CSS can be a little bit touchy every now and then. So, this is the main profile page for the SELCO profile, which is going to be a default one. It searches everything. I presented here before. The way I've gone about and done this one is that each of your library pages comes with the option to have 3 columns in it. So we are using all 3 of them right here on this one. We have the book river right here in the center, which I've demonstrated to this committee before.
Book river?
Yes,
That's what
the
they call
book
it.
river.
That's what they call it.
Okay.
It has an assortment of lists up here that can show you New York Times bestsellers or the other bestsellers that will rotate through the images. It does take a little bit to load the first time. USA Today is the other one. But the Find in My Library option will cause it to do a title author search in the catalog at that point, so you can go in and find it that way. We did toy with the idea of doing an ISBN, but the way that we do our cataloging, that doesn't work. So it's a title author search, and it'll give you most of the results for it that way. Over here, we have the links to our other resources. We have the MinLink Gateway, and of course the ELM databases, neither of which support directly, but we do have a vested interest in. And then over here on the right, you'll recognize these icons from the research page on the SELCO website. Hopefully we'll be able to move them over here. I haven't quite figured out what to do exactly about everyone who links there from their catalog currently, but I do like the idea of having them here right in the catalog so people can get to our subscription databases fairly quickly. I added this in just a couple days ago as a quick method. If you're coming right to the SELCO profile, if you don't have like your own web page, there are still a few public libraries that don't, or some school libraries which don't have a link to their own catalog on their web page, you can come to the default one and take this little jumper and go to the profile that belongs to your library. I mostly stole that from the code of the SELCO website, so it works pretty much the same way. Okay, all of this is customizable. Up on top, one second, I need to change profiles for just a second. Any volunteers? Austin it is. You will see that up on top we do have the ability to show the library information up here. So I have input the hours and the address and phone numbers for every library. A few of you have changed your hours in the last few months, so I will review them before we actually go live. Schools, for the most part, I only put up your address because your hours are difficult to tell. Right, probably does that. As I've mentioned before, this catalog is available in both English and Spanish. Although we don't have much cataloging in Spanish, it is possible to view it this way. Give it just a second. The CSS is a little screwed up right now, and the search bar is in the wrong spot. I can fix that in 10 minutes. I just have not had the time in the last 2 days to do that. But you'll fix by the 20 minutes. Oh, definitely. But you'll see it translates most of the text in here. The images aren't translated, but what can you do? I mean, I was pretty proud of myself to be able to translate these links up here. Okay, so that's the main home page. You'll see that we do have the room set up over here. I'm not going to demonstrate any of these rooms, as Cheryl's going to cover rooms later, and her rooms look far better than mine do. So she's going to handle that instead of the ones on here. But that is a default room position in all the profiles. If you have any rooms in your profile, that is where they will show up.
I have one quick question. The links, the contact us, the research, all that, is that going to be similar to what it is now where we decide what we want there?
I've copied all of the tabs from all the libraries and put them on there. A few of you, when you get to your profiles, you will notice there are some changes. For example, Owatonna, since you had so many tabs up there, I had to change your Facebook one to a Facebook icon in order for it to be room for all the other ones. I had to do that for several libraries, actually, but Owatonna's one comes to mind since you're in this meeting.
Amira did already left.
Oh, she did.
But John's still here.
Okay. One thing else I have on this one is really to search. So, you'll see that we do have our search bar up here. The home button will take you back to the home page of the profile. This is the SELCO one, so it does look a little bit different from all of your profiles, as it is designed to search all locations all the time. So we only have our search fields here, which let us choose which of these to go to. Naturally, the first one is the keyword just a general keyword and defaults to that whenever you log into the profile. We do have the options to search, but they need to be reordered yet. I'm just now noticing that, and I will do that. We can search by title, author, subject, series, and ISBN as well. Now, if you search by ISBN and you give an exact one, I should have copied one down earlier.
Include, like that.
All right, I can steal it off that. Let's hope this works. If there's only one result, I'm lucky. I blame the catalogers.
Don't look at me. I don't have that book.
If there is only one result for any search that is done, it will take you directly to the item record, the title record, instead of to a search results page. That's just something to be aware of. It's not broken. It just knows there's only one, so I'm going to take you right to it. But, oh yeah, the advanced search is over here. There's not. It's an advanced search. I'm not going to show that off. How every other advanced search ever works, Boolean logic and all that. So, what have I been looking at lately? 39 clues. Okay, this is our search results screen right here. You'll see we have the synthetics information for the items being pulled here. Of course, the first ones to show up are CDs, so synthetics are kind of sucky on those to begin with. But we do get to cover images along here, standard, title, author. We put in the series and the series number. The series will be clickable. It's just the last harvest I did screwed that up. I honestly thought I had it fixed. And the date. And this is something that Cheryl suggested to me just yesterday, is that in the search results screen, we do have an excerpt from the 520 field of the MARC records, giving you a brief summary, the beginning of the summary of the book. So the first 120 characters, the summary field, are showing up there to give you an idea of what's going on in the title.
So I could find my romance novels easier.
No, it's because you were having a meeting and the e-book did that. And you went, oh, I really want to read that now that I read the excerpt.
And it was a romance novel.
And then we have the format down here displaying as an image and the availability throughout the whole region. We talked about this before for the availability, and the only way we can do this as a Horizon user is for the entire region for that number, even in your local profiles. I mean, your local profiles will still restrict it to, it'll only show titles at your location, but the availability number will show the available number in the whole region, not just at your library. I think Symphony can do it, but Jersey Dynamics always has preferred Symphony.
I think, Tyler, I asked this question before. I think you said it would work this way, but the library that you're currently at,
yes.
On the left, it'll be at the top, or?
In the item results, it will appear on the top. Since we're in the SELCO profile, they all sort alphabetically because we don't have much of a holding and we don't care where we appear. But I can show you.
You can do them too, because
I
that's
can
where I
just
was
do
going to
them.
go with the fastest. Okay.
Well, you've also been playing around with your search results screens. I don't know how they'll show up. Oh, I didn't restrict this to only your holdings. I hope you have the 39 clues somewhere in your library.
Better?
Yeah. Okay. Let's find 34 holdings at least. You'll see Zumbrota does appear on the top of the items list. We can only do that for one library, though. I know Cheryl thought about doing it for several, but only one library can be sent to the top. We can't set the second or third or anything like that. So that just about covers it. We do have the place requests over here and the text is to me. All of you remember that from our previous discussion, except for maybe Pat, that it can send a text to a phone with a little link to the title, or it can do it to the item level as well. That will say, okay, here's this link for this. Click it to get back to this item. And that is paid for by the patron when they do it. It is not something that's billed to the library.
So they're sending themselves a note about.
They're sending themselves a URL to get back to the title.
Okay.
So instead of writing on the little piece of paper with the golf pencil,
Sure,
they're just
sure.
sending it right to their account.
And is it 10 cents for them, or what?
Whatever their standard text messages are.
That cost is passed on to them, so that depends on their plan.
There's no cost from Cersei Dynix to the library or to the patron. It's just their text message provider.
Can you show us the place request and item specific, how that looks?
Absolutely. That is the feature that we've been waiting for.
That book that's on the dining room table. I did that.
Okay. As you can see down here, we have our item holdings, and right here in the item holds, we have, it says reserve this copy right now. Once we restart Enterprise, it'll say request this copy. And that is how you place your item-specific holds. We also have this restriction category right here. This is the one that will display if things are local request only, non-requestable, non-circulating. They map there in common English, not codes, so our people can see that. And any copy statements, as well as collection and call number are displayed here as well. One thing you will notice back here on this display that I didn't cover before because it's in the SELCO profile is that it does show the call number for the item that is at your library, hopefully. Yep. So you can get that directly from the results screen. This will only show the first one at your library. So if you have multiple copies, it's just showing the first one that shows up, even if they have different call numbers. Also, if you do an all search from your library profile and it's an item that is not held at your library, it will still show a call number even though the item isn't at your location. Honestly, you haven't been able to figure out the logic of which one it will show. But if they're searching all libraries, they're not likely to care so much about the call number. And we do have the Facebook Like It button over here. I don't know. It's nifty. It's cool. I don't know if it actually does anything useful.
It posted to my Facebook account that I liked that book. And that
And you had like 6 people commenting, I like that book too.
Yeah, and I hadn't read the book. So. I did admit that I didn't read it.
So I have a quick question.
Okay.
The reserving of the books, that's still for public libraries only, or can the schools have the capability of having to be able to request item-specific books?
Schools have always been able to do item-specific goals.
For some reason, Rochester Public Schools, we don't allow them to do that. I thought it was a SELCO.
You thought it was a SELCO setting?
I have a policy where you don't allow
Again,
them,
but I'm going to bring this up at our, I'm bringing this up at our next meeting.
Diane.
I will talk to Diane, that's right.
Yes, because I think Diane's messaged me several times that she does those because she tries to get them from other Rochester schools or she tries to get them from anywhere else.
Well, we do interlibrary loans, of course, but we have to enter them as media staff. The students are not able to click on the...
I think that was a building by, this is Ann. I think that might have been one of those building discussions that they were worried about kids placing too many requests for too many items that were just like, oh, I'll place this.
Sure, oh, I get that. Yeah.
102.
Sure. No. Well, could parameters be set where you're only allowed to request 2 books, and when you return it, you were able to request another book? Could parameters be set?
Those parameters can be set in Horizon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at Tyler and Cheryl, but I believe what would happen then is if the student tries to place the 3rd request in here, they're just going to get some kind of error message that says they can't do that.
Right.
I don't know how to script it. You have to check on it.
Okay.
I think it just was something like, there's an error, please contact your library. And we could probably control that later.
Right.
Right. But yeah, so the whole idea about restricting how many requests that they can do, that's a Horizon setting rather than, even though this is connected to it. Yeah.
Okay, and and in the accordion down here, we also have several other pieces of information that are being pulled in from, I think, Syndetic still, isn't it? That includes the summary, and there can be reviews on here as well. There are up to 4 little pieces of the accordion. One of them is always the item holdings, and then the other 3 are there for reviews, summary, and can't remember the 4th one off the top of my head.
Table of contents, Google Preview. Those are the other ones I'm seeing on mine.
Oh, okay. Excellent. So, oh yes, and it is possible to place multiple requests at once with this. If I want both Into Deep and Vespers Rising, I can select this and place request. And we have found out that if you do item-specific requests on this, you don't get logged out every time, and you don't have to come back in. So there is that nice little thing. No, not now. Not on Donovan's. And you can even separate out which pickup location you're going to get. I'm not going to carry this through because I've already read these books.
And that'll default to whatever one you're searching for.
It should default to the patron's home library in Horizon.
The patrons, no matter what. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.